Today's vlog, we got a picnic with expensive fruits. We got adventures in sushi making and a lot of drinking while eating a lot of food I didn't expect to eat in a place that I thought was pronounced Shibuya, but it's Shibuya? Coming up. And if you're new here, I'm Christine Lozada. This marks the beginning of the Eat Japan Tour, an 11-day, lot of eating trip that I'm on with a good friend of mine, Scott Brills. So excited to bring you guys along for this adventure. Where we last left off was checking into the hotel. We are staying right next to Tokyo Station, which, if you've not been to Tokyo Station, like this is not like a little train station. This is a place where if you have ever felt lost in your life, it doesn't compare to what will happen when you're at Tokyo Station. But before we met up with Scott Brills and the rest of the Eat Japan group, Scott Golden and I decided to go into Tokyo Station and just like poke around and see what was in there and see what kind of adventures we could find. And we ended up somewhere that was not very Japanese. We ended up at a Chinese dumpling place where we ordered way too many dumplings. And Scott's still practicing his skills with a Z at using chopsticks, so that was kind of a fun one. I got in a little bit more practice at the dumpling spot and then just walked around Tokyo Station until it was time to meet up with the group. And when we kicked things off, we started with an orientation because there's a lot of unique things about Japan that you just wouldn't expect. And so at our orientation at the hotel with Eat Japan Tours, we basically had an opportunity to hear about the entire 11-day tour, which we all got super excited about, kick things off by cheersing with some sake, and we started learning things like Japan is on the left, right? When you're walking, you pass on the left, and you're going up and down the stairs at the train station, you're on the left, and there are things when you're on the left that you are not allowed to do. When you're walking, you cannot eat while walking, but you can eat while standing, but it's okay to drink while standing or walking, but generally speaking, depending on which type of train, it's acceptable to eat also. All of these things that are just culturally different in Japanese culture versus Western culture, we kind of like went through a lot of that. Here's another one. You got trash, you just hold on to that forever, because there's not really a lot of trash cans unless you're going into a 7-Eleven or a Family Mart or the bathroom, which 7-Eleven is like, that's another thing, right? 7-Eleven is actually Dallas, US owned, and then they sold it to Japan, and now it's Japanese owned. And anyway, all these things. We learned a lot about Japanese culture before we kicked off the trip, heading down to the train to go to what I used to pronounce as Shibuya, but is Shibuya. And when we got there, we got to head down into a spot that is a little bit different than what I expected. A spot where you got to take off your shoes. Don't take off your socks. It's another Japanese culture thing. You got to keep your feet covered. You got to wear the socks. But we went down into this family-style restaurant where we had a 2-hour open bar and just kind of cheers in a very loud and fun environment the start of this trip. And we ate a bunch of dishes I didn't totally expect, whether it was we had a salad, I didn't expect that. We had meat and potatoes with bread, didn't expect that. We had, fish that was torched with a flame, topped with lemon. This list is long, but we shared a family-style meal, which was absolutely epic. And that was the beginning of our Eat Japan tour. Oh wait, there's one more thing that happened in I'm gonna say it the American way, in Shibuya, which is the Shibuya Scramble. If you're not aware of what this is, it's a place where when it's really busy, not necessarily on this night, but when it's really busy, like thousands of people will cross the street at the same time. It's a spot where multiple crosswalks, not 2 crosswalks, not 3 crosswalks, lots of crosswalks, all kind of pass each other. And it's literally a scramble to get across the street. And the next day when we woke up, we didn't have the best weather in the world, but it'll do. Better than the very rainy days in Tokyo that Scott Golden and I had gotten before we met up with Scott Brills and everyone else. But we had kind of a gray day, but we went on a long walk, kind of gathering lots of different items for a picnic in the park. And it wasn't just any picnic in the park. We went into a shop where it's more for like gifts, but they're perfectly ripened fruits and they're all in season. So imagine a 168 US dollar mango or a $130 cantaloupe, like perfectly ripe fruits. And we collected some of those, went to a separate food stand, got to learn about the convenience stores, right? 7-Eleven. Amazing food, right? Collecting all these different kinds of foods, snacks, bakery items. And we went to a local park where we kind of just divvied everything up, and family style, we ate all the different food items that we had picked up. And then it was just awesome because we walked around Ginza, and Ginza is one of like the nicer, more upscale neighborhoods. Super beautiful, lots of high-end stores. And there's one thing I love to eat in Japan, it's the bread items. I'm kind of feeling it in my current stretching out of these stretchy pants outfit. But a red bean paste inside of a pastry. This is one of the most famous bakeries for this product in Japan. So we went in, smelled delicious, got a bunch of these types of pastries, and we also walked around a food hall. There you'll find so many different unique food halls underground, going down to the basement level. And at this food hall, there were just so many amazing places to eat, whether baked goods or savory foods or fill in the blank. You could eat as much as your heart's desire. Amazing food hall, went to this bakery, and that was our afternoon in Ginza. And then we finished the day in the best way possible. And you're probably wondering, like, when are you gonna be eating sushi, Christine? You're in Japan. So part of the Eat Japan tour is about eating as many different and unique items as possible. So in other words, it's not just a sushi tour. But we kicked off the first night in the most special way with sushi, which was a sushi making class. And two friends of Scott Brill's and the Eat Japan tour, they took us through this amazing sushi making class. I mean, these are two sushi chefs who give these classes to famous celebrities, to people in the UN, and then us. It was absolutely fantastic. And we made maki, rolled sushi, and we also made different kinds of, not sashimi, but nigiri. And it was just a really fun night of drinking a ton of sake, learning the technique of making sushi, something I've done many, many, many times, but was so much fun to not only watch Scott Golden make sushi for his first time, but eat it for the first time. He had his first bites of raw sushi, and he ate all of it, which I don't know if you know this, but in Japanese culture, it's not acceptable to have food waste. So you eat everything. That's your sign of respect for the people preparing the food, which I guess was us, but technically we learned how to make it. Sushi making was how we ended the day. Absolutely epic. And that was just day 1 of 11. Get ready for tomorrow's tour because we are headed out for more adventures. I'll see you in the next one. Ciao. Are you ready for your cameo? Sushi making class. This was the first time you ate sushi. How'd it go?
You know, surprisingly well. I wasn't sure. That was probably the one thing in this trip that I was a little nervous about. It worked out really well. The people that taught us the sushi making were excellent at what they did, made me feel comfortable, and I ate a lot more of the sushi than I thought.
I love how freaking serious you are about this. When you put the first piece in your mouth and you ate it, I was like this. I was like looking at my plate, eating it, and I looked at you and now you were eating it, and I was like, whoa, 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 what the fuck?
Yeah, I was actually surprised how much I liked it. Do I want to eat it every day for the rest of my life? Probably not. But it was a great experience. It really was. And for anybody that's nervous about it, maybe potentially taking this trip, try it.
Favorite sushi item on the plate?
Whatever the far left was. First two.
The whitefish.
Yeah, the whitefish. And then the not calamari, whatever the other one was.
Sushi making with Scott Golden.
Cut that last part.
Kevin, keep it in. All right, bye.